Hi guys, welcome to Simply Scuba. Here we have the Atomic Aquatics SV2 Snorkel. So this is a pretty fancy snorkel. We've got a dry valve down at the bottom that's going to keep water out of your airway. We've got a very fancy kind of top section on the top, which is a very comprehensive splash guard. Some clever stuff in the middle. Let's take a closer look. So starting up at the top, we have this sort of comprehensive splash guard. So the opening of the snorkel is kind of here. And then if water kind of splashes over the top of the snorkel, it's going to deflect it away from that opening. Even if it comes from this direction, we've got this kind of grid, which just means that if any sort of gentle water kind of splashes over it, it's going to be sent like away from the actual opening, so it comes out sort of down the snorkel instead of actually into the snorkel. And that's just going to keep water out. Obviously, if you do submerge it, water will get in. But then the bottom valve comes into place for clearing that. So decent sized opening, so it's going to allow for lots of airflow. It's a rigid tube, so that's going to keep that sort of airway completely open. I'm not a huge fan of rigids, or at least completely rigid. I usually prefer a bit of bend in my snorkel, but that's just personal preference. But this one really does wrap around your head, which is quite nice. Keeps that sort of airway sort of nice and close to your head, so it's not kind of flapping around in the water. Halfway down the snorkel, we get to the Snorkel Keep. Now this sits on a sort of ratchet rail, so the snorkel, or at least the mouthpiece, can sit exactly where you want it to, sort of on the side of your head, so the mouthpiece sits exactly where you want it to. And the Snorkel Keep itself, if you undo that little thing, that can be removed, and that can stay on your mask strap, and that can be stored sort of with your mask, and then the snorkel can be sort of stored separately. So you don't have to sort of keep it all together in a bag and risk your mask lenses from getting scratched. Moving down from that, we've got a silicone corrugated tube. So this just allows the mouthpiece just to move around, sit exactly where you want it to in your mouth, and then when you're not using it, you can let go of it and it falls away from your mouth, keeping your airway, your sort of mouth area sort of open for your regulator to come in. And then the mouthpiece comes in, and this is a fairly ambidextrous mouthpiece. Most snorkels, they only go on the left-hand side because our regulators come in from the right. So the mouthpieces are usually angled a little bit, but this one's actually pretty ambidextrous. So if you do prefer a snorkel, you're just snorkeling and you put it on the right-hand side, it will still work. And this is a sort of like Oceanics Comfort Bite mouthpiece. We've got a harder section. You can see the on the bite section here where it's red. It's a little bit harder silicone, so it's less likely to sort of wear through after extended use. But the rest of it, the black bit, is nice soft silicone. Underneath the mouthpiece, we can see we've got a decent sized sort of water trap down at the bottom. So that way, even if some water does make its way in, it's going to take quite a lot of sort of water to fill that up. So you still have a clear airway that you can breathe through, even if there is some water in the snorkel. But even if there is some water in the snorkel, every time you exhale, any water caught in this water trap is going to be pushed out of this bottom valve here, little mushroom valve. So whenever you exhale, it's going to get pushed out of that, and you get a nice clean airway again. So it's a very smart snorkel. The only thing I change on it is to make the actual tube itself a bit more flexible. That's just a personal preference. A lot of people do use sort of rigid tube snorkels because, yeah, it just keeps that airway open. This is the Atomic SV2 Snorkel. Thanks for watching and safe diving.
We are an online dive store serving the UK and the world for all your diving equipment needs. So why not visit us at simplyscuba.com or click the box on your screen.